In today's episode, we are going to give you guys the blueprint to scaling your real estate business to 6 and 7 figures. Now, the good thing about this is that if you're a business owner or you're looking to start a business, a lot of these principles are going to apply to any sort of business that you guys have. So whether it's an investment business, a real estate business, an AC business, a plumbing business, a restaurant business, a lot of the businesses have a lot of the same principles to be able to grow and scale from 6 figures to 7 figures. In today's episode, we're going to talk about lead generation, how to generate leads for your business, how to generate customers, lead conversion, how to convert some of these leads. But then we're going to talk about tips to service these leads and provide a high level of customer service. To help us with that, we have Jordan Suber, based out of Austin, Texas, with the Elite Real Estate Group. And welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Great to have me here. Too excited about this call today.
Of course, man. I think it's going to be great. So talk to us. Okay, so how do you get to 7, or how do you get your business to 6 figures first? And then if you're making that transition to get it to 7 figures, what is the formula?
Yeah, I love it. So to get to 6 figures, they need to learn a lot of skills. But the biggest gap in going from a normal job, hourly rate, to doing commission, to doing a business is having that skill gap. How to get more leads, how to do more sales, how to understand human psychology, all those things. For me, I think the first few years of my business, I used to spend so much time reading books, watching videos, talking to people like Jose here, who's best of the best in the industry. How can I become better myself by watching what they're doing and emulating those strategies for myself? Because at the end of the day, business is kind of easy if you understand that it's all duplicatable. If you all do the same actions, the same kind of skill sets, you can grow your business to 6 figures. And 6 figures, after you make it, oh wow, it's not that hard to do that. Now 7 figures is even harder because now you compete with people who are even better than yourselves with more skill gaps, differences. But from 7 figures, I think what I've learned personally is you can't do it by yourself. You need a whole team. Because 6 figures, you can hustle your way nonstop, cold DMs, social media, all these strategies make 6 figures relatively easy. But 7 figures, you can't do it by yourself. You need systems, operations, you need staff, you need a whole support system. Because now there's so many moving parts involved that without that being there, you're going to hit a wall around probably low 6 figures before that actually happens for you.
Got it. So let's talk about the lead generation portion of it, right? So you talked about like cold DMs, you talked about cold calling, you talked about there's so many different ways to lead generate as a real estate agent. And I think that this is a problem in our industry that a lot of the agents, one, they don't know how to lead generate. And then 2, once they get the leads, they have that skill gap as well too, where they don't know what to say, or how to convert some of these leads. So let's focus on the generation part of it first. What are the best methods for a realtor to generate leads if they're focused on sellers? And then if they're focused on buyers, what are some of the ways for them to generate leads?
Yeah, excellent question. So for sellers, obviously the easiest way to get more sellers is talk to people who want to sell their house, which is the for-sale by owners, the expired listings, the withdrawn listings. These people all already trying to sell a house or have tried to sell a house and they failed the past agent. So you can understand that psychology of them. That's the easiest way, but it's also going to be the biggest skill gap because if you're doing social media or you're doing open houses to maybe meet people who kind of sell and buy, then like the skill gap is lessened because they already know, like, and trust you. Versus the cold call aspect, they have no clue who you are. You're probably the 20th agent to call them that day, so you're in an upset mood, and you need to have a much higher skill to convert these people into clients. Now, for my business so far, I would say that I'm probably 90% listing heavy and 10% buyers. And unlike most people who do a lot of cold calls, we do that as well. But I have a team that cold calls for me, and then I will convert them on the presentations. But I had enough capital to do that. If you're just starting off, though, you should learn the skills yourself, like I did, by cold calling hundreds and hundreds of people. So you can't train your staff to do that for you in the beginning. And the easiest way to get listings is to talk to homeowners. Now, for the question on the buy side, those a little easier. You can do obviously the same kind of strategy of canvassing areas, door knocking, social media, and those techniques to get buyers, or trying to find people who lease homes right now. Say, hey, your lease ends in the next 6, 12 months from now. How can I help you? And I think the biggest gap people fall into with converting real estate leads or any leads is trying to find people on the top of the pyramid when they're like, I'm trying to buy and sell today. But those are every single agent and business owner are talking to the same exact people. The same exact people. So it's really hard to convert those because they're always gone or harassed too much. How can you find people on the middle or bottom of the pyramid and educate them, add value to them, help them in some way to convert them into that buying and selling mode where they don't trust anybody else but you because you already got them in the first place.
Got it. So about focusing on both like future leads and now leads basically as well too. Now, let's say that you are reaching out to homeowners, aside from expires for sale by owners, any other lists that agents should focus on?
Yeah, I think circle prospecting is good as well. If you already have a home sold or on the market, a lot of times people may want to sell as well. And these circle prospects people, one, no one calls them because they think that they don't want to sell. It's a waste of time to call them, waste of money to have someone call them for you. Whereas actually, if you go to any neighborhood, almost every single time a home is on the market or for sale, you can see 6 little signs in the same area. And those people were not aspired or forced by owner. They're like, oh, I'm going to sell too. He just sold his house for more than I thought it was worth. How much is my house worth now too? So calling people, hey, Jose, I have a house down the street from you that's sold for 100K above asking price. I'm just curious, who do you know that will love that same opportunity for themselves? And I'm asking through them. So I want them to be the seller, but maybe they know somebody. But if I say, hey, you want to sell your house, automatically I'm the bad guy. And it's too aggressive in my mind. If I say, hey, who do you know trying to sell the house with the same results I just did for your neighbor, then, oh, actually, I think I want the same thing. How can you help me do that as well?
Got it. What are your thoughts on buying leads?
I think if you don't want to learn how to prospect, then buying leads could be a good strategy. And you can do Zillow, you can do other marketers and agencies. I do think that your overhead will always be cheaper if you stay in house. So for me, I'd rather do Alex Emoji strategy. Like, hey, let me hire this agency and say, hey, I'm going to pay you a premium if you teach me all your strategies. And then I'm going to teach my team to do what they did for me instead. And now I have a shortcut gap of that skill that we would have to spend tons of money, tons of time to learn instead. This allows me to learn skills faster. Now, I do think big teams will do that, buy leads from Zillow and other platforms. But I think the best businesses keep all things in-house. Like for me, I have an in-house editor, an in-house call team, an in-house ad people, because I know if it's in-house, my overhead's way lower if I'm not paying for that gap for the profit.
Got it. By having everything in-house, I'm imagining that you're outsourcing a lot of it. Like what I mean by that is that you have like virtual assistants, I'm imagining, right?
Yep. So you have VAs, we have in-person assistants as well with my executive assistant here in Austin. I have overseas people for video editing. So if you can outsource overseas, definitely do that. It's going to save you a lot of money. Now, some job you can't outsource overseas. Or for the cold callers, you can just make sure you're over doing it through like Europe. We have the same language as us and not going to be a different barrier there. Because someone calls you from the Philippines, automatically, like, oh, this is a scam call. I don't care anymore. I hire out based on skill sets and what the role is going to look like for us in that department.
Got it. What advice would you give somebody looking to maybe hire their first virtual assistant?
Interview as many people as possible, and they'll be too quick to hire them. For myself, when I first got started, almost a decade ago, I hired 4 assistants on the same day, pretty much. If I have 4 people, more results and see what happens. All $4 an hour, this is great. And then I realized that all of them was not that good, and I'm managing 4 people who I don't know how I managed in the first place at that point in time. And now in my interview processes, I look, well, now my EA looks at this for me, but we look at hundreds of applications. And then the 100 applications, I have 30 to 40 interviews. And now I have 3 interviews because he did the other 40 for me. So it's a huge filter process before they even talk to me now. Say, hey, are you a good fit? I interview them. I see their skill sets. I did a test project as well for the first 2 weeks. And then for the first month and the first 6 months. So I think a lot of people are too quick to hire and too slow to fire. And for me, I have expectation with my employees like, hey, you have 6 months to prove yourself. You have 2 weeks before that and 4 weeks before that as well. So make sure they know, bring the A game every single time. Because like Steve Jobs says, A players hire A players. A players sometimes hire B players, but the B players hire the C players. And the C players ruin the company. And I make sure I don't ruin my company by hiring bad talent and having big learning gaps and big skill gaps. Because my goal to have my assistants or my cold caller be better than me at that skill. That's all they do.
Got it. Your EA, which country is she in?
She's actually here in Austin, Texas.
Nice. Good for you, man.
Thank
And
you.
then what about like what can somebody expect to pay a VA like outside of the United States?
Yep. So ranges from $3 to $10 to $20, depending on how high you want to go. I think you can find people in the Philippines for $4 an hour, $6 an hour who are really, really good. Because what people think is, well, it's $4 an hour, they have to be awful. Like, well, for us, their income in our place would be like $10 an hour at $4 the conversion rate. So for them, you're hiring a good person. Now, I've learned firsthand it's better to overspend if you can, because you think if I spend $7 an hour, maybe they're twice as good. But the thing is, sometimes it's like 10 times better because they're faster, they understand more, they're more competent. The list goes on. So I see double spending, I see like 5 times the output.
How
So I
do you, how
think,
do you keep how do you keep them accountable? Like meaning like making sure that they're working when they're supposed to be working. Do you use a
yep.
platform at all?
So we have a QuickBooks account that allows me to track the time on that platform there. I also have them talk to my EA, so she's kind of in charge of that team. I lead to her now to talk to them. In the beginning, I did not do that. It was me leading everybody. I did calls every single morning for 15 minutes, my team, see what's going on. I also make sure they give me updates every morning and evening on what's going on in the progress, and I marry the KPIs. So for me, the key performance indicators are everything. And I can say, hey, I did your job at one point in time, and I could do this much work in this amount of time. This is a new benchmark. And now for my new employees, I make them beat their benchmarks as often as possible to keep the bar raising higher and higher. I have to make sure that they are also staying on track. Because I can see, oh, today you only did 15 calls. What happened? You did 20 calls last week or 20 appointments last week. What happened here? Did you take a day off? Did you lose your mind? What's happening here?
Got it. Um, how does somebody find a good executive assistant?
Yeah, so it's kind of the same process. You want to interview tons of people, but I think you want to find somebody who already has that role in the past. Like for me, I think I interviewed or looked at like 500 applications for my EA, and I chose to have one in person here in Austin, Texas, because a lot of stuff like today, she was driving around, putting signs in my listings for me, grabbing keys for me, and doing a job that I didn't want to drive to, obviously, and also saves me time. And I think the biggest thing is understanding what you're hiring for, because you can't give somebody most jobs, too many different jobs to do. If it's a cold caller, they should just cold call. If they do ads, they just do ads. But if you're EA, they have to have a skill doing tons of jobs because they'll be managing your people sometimes. They'll be managing your calendar, your inbox, and your people skills. They'll be managing day-to-day activities. So for me, I have to find somebody who either was a really good entrepreneur at one point in time and realize they might be a player 2 than player 1. Or I find somebody that was a good executive or a good position at their past corporate job that can transfer those same skills over to me. So if my EA has an MBA, so she is super qualified, has a lot of skills, really intelligent, which is a good role for me in my client-facing stuff and also internal-facing stuff as well.
Let's say that somebody doesn't own a real estate company and they want to generate leads for their business. Like, let's say they own a coffee shop, or
Mm-hmm.
let's say that they own a restaurant, or they own a service, service business, like, for example, like an AC company or a plumbing company. What advice would you give them to generate leads?
Become a master at either direct response marketing or advertising. So direct response marketing is obviously as it sounds. I'm talking to the person out of the home, on the phone, in the DMs, and the emails to convert these people as often as possible. Now, the HVAC company, that works really well because you can do a big volume, you make a lot of money. You're in coffee business though, cold calling people for coffee, probably not the best strategy. So for that one, you'll probably learn advertising. And how can you make a unique offer that is so compelling that makes them come to the house or make them come to your coffee shop? Have ways to give them the first coffee for free if you come there. Have ways to have loyalty programs. Hey, after 10 coffees, you 10th one for free, your 11th one for free. What can you do to entice them to come there? For like places like Austin, coffee shops are huge, but there's so many of them. For me, it's like, hey, this one allows me to use a Wi-Fi. This one allows me to have events there for my clients. A win-win bargain. And on that note as well, how can you partner with other people with businesses? A lot of times, HVAC companies know agents and they have crossover businesses.
Yeah. So I think what I hear you saying is that the lead generation strategy is going to vary depending on the business that you have. And then it's also going to be dependent if you have time or money.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, as you're starting off, it may require that you invest more time into doing things, and then as you grow, you may be more apt to buy leads or invest money into leads because now you have money and now your time is worth a lot more. And I would agree with that. It's funny because my buddy Aaron, his sister,
Mm-hmm.
runs a coffee shop, and the way that she grew it is she came up with different types of drinks and made them popular on social media,
I love
basically.
that.
So like documented the making of a drink or different drinks, or and I see that a lot with food.
Mm.
In the food industry, if you can basically create an environment where you have like a different dish, or documenting like different unique things or different experience, and you're documenting that, a lot of times that's driving a lot of traffic to the restaurant businesses, or like, yeah, restaurants or coffee shops or that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. What I also see as well too is, because I started off my business cold calling as well too. That's how I started off. I started expires for sale by owners. I didn't really buy many leads.
Mm-hmm.
What I realized is that a lot of the investors actually buy a lot of leads. Like, a lot of the investors buy leads as a we buy houses type of marketing, and they're doing like pay per click, they're doing pay per
Mm-hmm.
lead, they're doing TV, they're doing radio, they're doing all these different marketing channels to be able to drive traffic. Telemarketing is a
Mm-hmm.
marketing channel.
Yep.
PPC is another marketing channel. Social media is a different marketing channel. So I think it's like um, so Alex Hermosi, and we talked about Alex Hermosi, he broke it down in
Mm-hmm.
4 ways to generate leads. Number one
Yep.
is warm business, meaning people that know you, like you, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You open up a restaurant, let's invite some people that know us, like us, and trust us. Cold business, people that don't know you. How can you get your word out? That's cold calling right there. Then you have social media. That's a way of
Mm-hmm.
driving business. And then you have like paid ads, like pay per click, Facebook ads, and different types of advertising. And he broke it down in that way. And I think that's like the simplest way to kind of break it
Oh
down
yeah.
for any business. So let's talk about lead conversion. So how do you convert leads in real estate specifically?
Yeah. Great questions. For converting leads, it's all about understanding the needs and desires. Because if one person wants to sell quickly and say, I can sell your house in 2 months, I lost them. I make sure I talk their language, and I think follow up is the biggest part of lead conversion. A lot of people think, oh, if I call them once or twice, they're now a new client of mine. And that's not the case. A lot of time is a big trust barrier to sell or buy a home from somebody. So you do a lot of follow up. For us, we do automations, we do cold calls, we do the whole 9 yards. Make sure we get way more touch points with them. But it takes around 7 times for someone to trust you enough to work with you. So I do a lot of different strategies for me targeting them on ads on my Facebook and Instagram. We will call them, we will text them. I probably reach out to somebody, I believe it's 7 times within the first 4 days. And this allowed me to convert at a higher level because it takes way more than just talking to somebody. Even for cold calling, most people won't talk with you the first day after you call them. Like, okay, I'm gonna call you back tomorrow. I'm gonna call you back next week, and it's just more touch points.
Got it. And then, so how do you find out what they need? Because this is my belief. My belief is very similar to yours, that in order to convert a client or in order to help a client, the
Mm-hmm.
better you understand their needs, the better you can service the client. And the better
Yep.
you understand their needs, the better you're able to propose the right solution. Because different people have different goals, different reasons for wanting to do something. So,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say the best way to qualify them or to find out their needs is? What kind of questions would you ask?
Yeah, so it's kind of like being like a doctor, and you go to the doctor's office, they ask you like, "How is your throat? How is your breathing? How is this?" For agents, the same exact thing. For selling somebody, it's not being so persuasive. It's being understanding, being there for their needs. And I ask them like, "Hey, it's like, what's your goals? Why are you selling? Why are you moving? If they're trying to move instead, what is your timeline like? How much do you owe on the house? Because they owe, $1 million and want to sell for $1 million, well, probably won't work. You're gonna lose money on the transaction. Like I gotta understand what their needs are. I'm gonna ask them about the upgrades. What's their biggest pain points? And I'm gonna dig into that pain point. If I know they got a new job offer in California and they have to move, then well, what's more important to you? Is it selling for top dollar or selling quickly and get there faster? And if I know all the different answers to them, I can really tailor my approach to give it to them. Like you and Aaron say, like the most way to get clients in real estate is the perceived value. We all do the same stuff. We sell houses, we buy houses. The skill sets are kind of all the same. I put in an MLS, I have good pricing, good pictures. It's going to sell. So I'm selling myself. I'm selling what they need back to them. So on the same page, the same team for their goals and their desires.
Got it. Now, what would you say for other businesses like other businesses? How would they convert leads?
Yeah. So if you're like a coach selling, coaching services for marketing or for business or for sales. It's all about how can I bridge the gap? What's trying to go? If I know your job, your goal is to get 100 leads a month, and you say right now you get 5 leads a month, I say, hey, if my systems I made, you can get at least 150 leads per month. That's not helpful to you. I want to buy them into the process. And I'm going to ask them, like Alex Mosey said, your gap of not knowing how to make $1 million a year is costing you $1 million a year. And I'm gonna find ways to paint that picture to them and really lead them down to destination and not sell them the plane ride, but sell them Cabo. I'm gonna sell them the end results, get them buy into the vision, ask them questions or leading them to them agreeing themselves, ask me for the business. My goal in the call is say, okay, great, what's next? How do we get started? And if I ask the right questions and I can handle objections before they even come up, my close is even easier. And also looping back into the processes. A lot of times people will sell somebody and stop after the first rejection. It's not a rejection, it's just a redirection saying, hey, I need more information from you before I say yes.
How do you get your skills up? Or how did
Exactly.
you get your skills?
For me, there's tons and tons of practice. I have done thousands of phone calls, thousands of pitches, and by doing all these different activities, I got better. From role playing, being in the field, from reading books, watching videos, all these things works. But in the day, I cannot read a book and become a master salesperson. It takes 2 people to become good at sales. The person pitching and the person being pitched. Otherwise, you're never going to have that big gap. And for me, I started doing sales when I was 6 years old. When I was 6 years old, I convinced my friends to draw pictures. I would knock on doors and go sell these pictures for $50 a pop. And looking back on it, like, wow, these people was crazy to buy a picture drawn by a 6 year old for $50. But who says no to a little kid? But I've been doing sales my whole life, and by doing the activities, I got better at my skill sets. And unfortunately, there is no shortcut to skill sets. You can hire
Yeah.
mentors. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for coaches and mentors, and yeah, it fast tracked me. But I had to put in the work and still to do the activities to get the skills enhanced.
Yeah, you got to go out and put the work. What are your thoughts on product knowledge? Like, meaning, like, do you think that helps lead conversion, knowing what, like, your product basically, and whatever it is that you're selling? Like, meaning, if you're selling a car, understanding what features and benefits that car has. If you're selling HVAC, knowing HVAC in and out. Do you think that helps?
I think it helps. I don't think it's everything, but I think it does help a lot because people can know, like, and trust you is one part of it, but also I know that you're smart, knowledgeable, and you understand the product. So for me, my product is real estate. So I actually will tour homes before I even go to the pitch. I can say, hey, I saw the 5 homes in your street that are selling at this price point firsthand already, so I know what your home can sell for as well. This allows me to give them a more expert opinion and advice moving forward. Not saying, well, the comps say this, and I think it's worth this much, but I haven't seen the house personally. But by knowing the market so well, I have a leg up. Now, do you need to know that? No. I got started in real estate. I had no clue about real estate, more or less, at least at the product and marketplaces, but I knew people and I can convince them to trust me to sell the house for them. I say, hey, I'm good at marketing, I'm good at this, I'm good at branding, I'm good at video marketing for you too. And all these strategies add up. But I think you should know your product. You should know that like the back of your hand. You sell iPhones. What makes this phone different than Android?
Yeah. So I think it helps too. So I think like so at least in the conversion part, I meet agents that are just like sales, 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 but then they don't know anything about a 1031 exchange. They don't know anything about seller financing. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about assumable loans. They don't know what escrow. They don't know what
Up
title is.
to.
And I think that limits their ability to be able to convert because they're missing out on opportunities that they're not even aware. The other thing I think I learned along the way now after seeing like 1,000 properties or probably like 2 or 3,000 properties in my career now is that different homes have like different features that make attractive that maybe aren't like your traditional home. So I learned homes, and it was funny because last year or the last 2 years we designed our house, and I took a combination of all 3,000 homes that I had seen. And I'm like, okay, I like this about this home. I like this about that home. And that helped me design a better house. But I believe that if you understand sales and you have
Mhm.
product knowledge and you understand marketing, then that's a winning combination for somebody,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, at least somebody in the industry. Got it. So, what advice would you give on? So, you said that from scaling to 6 to 7 figures, you're not going to be able to do it by yourself, right? How do
Yeah.
you ensure that the people around you provide excellent customer service so that as you grow, your clients are getting the service, the same or similar quality service that you were giving them?
Yep, yep, love that. I think one is going to be the core values. I mean, so people buy in that vision and so understand that this is what we're looking for. We're trying for excellence every single day, but also not feeding your client, your team members to your clients from day one. Like for my team, I do it with them for the first like week or two. Hey, let's do this call together. Watch me do this. Hey, I'm gonna talk to my clients. Don't say nothing. Just hang out, relax. Watch me talk to them. The first week or two. By doing that, they oh, Jordan does it this way for a reason. I see what happens. I see the end results of this activity, and by doing that, they're now more buy into that vision. And after that happens, for the first 2 weeks or so, all right, now you do it with me, but you leading this charge now. And I will help out if I need to and course correct things. Then before long, the goal, have them do it by themselves. We will now watching what's happening, being CC'd on emails, being CC'd on text messages. This allows us to have more of a breakdown I also think having training is super important as well. So for us, I do a book club with my team every single month. We read books like Unreasonable Hospitality or books about sales and marketing and communication, psychology. And I want to make sure they know that we all might be in the business of selling houses, but we're in the people business first. And customer service is everything, especially nowadays. Because the biggest complaint I hear from homeowners and home buyers is like, my last agent never talked to me. There's no communication. There's no this. There's no that. And I want to make sure when I work with them, that we give them gifts throughout the whole process. Hey, open house this weekend. Hey, here are 2 gift cards to go watch movies. Here's 2 gift cards to go eat dinner. Have fun, relax, enjoy yourself. Cost me $100, $200 to do that, but hey, they are now raving fans of my business practices and are happy about their experience. And I want to make them always over delivering for them because in the day, it's really easy to be good in business because a lot of people don't put in effort. They don't show up early. They don't try to over deliver. They over promise, and then to give them something not as good as they said they're going to be. And for us, I want to promise them the moon and give them the sun. How can I over deliver every single time? As for my team members, the same exact thing. I'm going to teach them by example. We do this and follow my systems because it's really easy to watch someone do stuff, but having no systems in place, having recordings for what I do, having bricks on what I do is also a big part of that as well. So you should document the journey. Say, hey, watch my trainings, go through this process, and don't miss any steps because these steps will allow us to scale quicker like a real business.
What is the evolution of your team? What does that look like from when you started to where you are now?
Yeah. So in the beginning, first like 3 years of my business, I built a team of 100 agents for EXP Realty. Now I have a team, which is like my elite team. We have now 3 main agents on there. One more joining next week. I have a EA here in town. She's full time. We have, and this is my first hire. My first like big hire I did for my whole business was her. I think after you make 100K a year, you need an assistant. So at that point, you're not buying them to build a business. You're buying for more time. Because I know if I'm doing activity like cold calling or making content online, doing pitches, that activity is going to make me $1,000 per hour. Just say for easy math, and paying her $25 per hour is an easy trade-off, giving more time to focus on actually my business. But I think on top of that, we have now a VA as well that does blog for us, that does SEO for my YouTube channel, does stuff like that for us as well. It's really easy to do across seas. I have a cold caller that's going to be for my more active income strategies, for more lead gen. We have an ad person that helps us with our ads and our creatives. I have a full-time video editor to edit my videos and my podcasts and so forth for more exposure to get more calls and more meetings. And then on top of that, I think your household is also a business as well. I have a nanny for my new son. I have a chef. I have a cleaner. Sometimes outsource as much as possible to do more about the business, how that be a whole system for ourselves. In the beginning, it was just me and my wife doing stuff, and now we have a whole like robust thing that's being built.
I got it. What about automation? How do you use automation in your business?
Yeah,
And how can
automation.
other people use automation now?
Yeah, with AI and with all these tools and systems, automation is easier than ever before. So we use like Zapier, for example, for our Facebook ads. So I run an ad on Facebook and they opt in for a lead form. I can see it on my phone as soon as it happens within 1 minute and call and text them because lead time to lead is everything. So for that is one automation we have. We have KV Core, which is going to be a CRM system that will talk to my clients for me for the next 6 years, from drip campaigns for listings, for buyers, for newsletters. I have automations for Instagram called mini chats. That if someone follows me or likes something, I can DM them. I have one post, I had 800 leads on one Instagram post for a USDA loan process. And I got all my automations up and running before it even happened. And all of them was message, booked a call with me, and offloaded to another agent to do the deal for me instead. So automations is everything from You can pop with mini chats, Zapier, having your open AI, ChatGPT stuff for you too. I think automation is everything. You should either delegate or automate. Now, I think automation works really well if it's not people involved. So I do have automations, obviously, for my listings, for my buyers, and for my sellers, but I still talk to them too. Because you can't do all automation for people stuff, but you can do it for like posting online for you, or for getting leads to your systems for you, or for cleaning your platforms for you.
What's been the biggest challenge in your journey to seven figures?
Biggest challenge can be like getting enough leads to service everybody and myself as well. Because at the end of the day, everything in business is more leads, more follow up, and getting to seven figures is way more leads. For six figures, you get 500 leads, boom, you made six figures more often than not because you get 10K per deal. And you have 500 leads, you get 50 clients, and 50 clients is like $500,000 right there. So six figures is easy to do in terms of lead gen, but for having more of a seven figure income, I'm seeing firsthand is like, hey, how can I get more leads? How can I get more systems in place to service these leads? How can I replace myself as the agent to be the CEO? And then I'm just the rainmaker now, offloading the leads to other people, which needs
Yeah.
more leads from me because then my income is now a 50% commission instead of 100% commission. Now I'm offloading it to somebody else instead.
What are your biggest challenges with duplicating yourself? Like being like other agents, like other salespeople.
I think time is probably the biggest thing. Also, finding people who are hungry, as you probably know, Jose. That a lot of agents say they want to make $1 million or even six figures, but they don't want to role play. They don't want to read books. They don't want to practice the scripts. They don't want to do open houses. So it's finding people who are hungry and actually want to grow, want to build and be great, and having that accountability in place as well. And I think time is a big part of that as well. Because, like, hey, you can only get so good so quickly. I've been doing this for over a decade now. So I have a lot more time invested in my business to be at the skill level. And I think finding people who are also making high six figures, maybe seven figures, don't want to join somebody who's making the same amount of money. But you're making eight figures, then find someone who makes seven figures to kind of duplicate yourself is even easier for you. But hey, you're already a rock star. Come over here, use my systems and stuff like that. This next level. So for me, it's all about having an easier way to find someone who's super hungry, to train them what's going on. And I think I have two people right now who are going to take my role as the main agent for the commercial side and main agent for the listing side. But it's just time now, training them to become better, helping them get to the processes and teaching them their ways.
What percentage of the business is you versus your other agents?
So last year, I would say 90% of the business was me. So we did multiple six figures last year, and almost all was from me. And my other agent did a couple deals himself. He is unique. He's $1 billion so far personally, but in the real estate commercial side of things. So now I'm helping him get more into the luxury side of real estate, traditional side of real estate, and more lead gen. Because most agents, as you may already know yourself, are solely SOI based, spirit influence. So the whole business model is like, hey, my friend calls me, great, a new client. But no calls me, well then, hey, let's see what happens. And in this market, most agents who don't know how to do prospecting and lead gen are kind of like stuck because this is a harder market. No one's just calling you anymore because rates are high or people are scared about the market crashing tomorrow. So you have to be super proactive. And so the last year, I was obviously super proactive. And this year, now that my business is doing more lead gen, he's doing more production because I'm getting leads now and giving them to him.
Any final words that you like to give to our viewers?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for those watching right now is realize one, think like a business owner. I think the biggest thing. A lot of times I see agents like, oh, my goal is to make six figures. But when they get into doing entrepreneurship, they think their business income is the same income as their personal income. They're two different things. If your business made $1 million, you did not make $1 million. Your business made $1 million. And that's the hardest thing I think for most people to realize, especially at like six figures or low six figures. It's like Cool, you made $100K last year. You have taxes, which is $30,000-$40,000 right there. You have your overhead for your marketing and your expansion, which is another $20K right there. You have your life, which is another $40K right there. At the end of the day, you made $20K for working super hard, probably. And I think it's really important to think like a business owner and find ways to lessen the skill gaps you have as fast as possible so you can get to high six figures. Because to me, making hopefully be seven figures this year, I now know that you have to have a high income to have a good business, to have good income as well for a nice lifestyle. But just remember, where you are right now, you can make it there. When I was younger, from 12 to 18, I was homeless off and on. From 12 to 18, I slept on benches, in cars, on friends' couches, and now I'm making multiple six figures to seven figures because I realized it's all about learning new skills, helping more people, and finding activities with high income opportunities for yourself, was already been done by other people as well, not just by you.
And where could people find you if they wanted to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can find me anywhere Jordan Super. So on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, type in Jordan Super. See me, my wife Melanie, all platforms. I break down all things psychology, real estate, of course, marketing, sales, so much more every single week for you guys.